Hey there, ClickUp enthusiasts. Corey from Reese Jones Consulting here with a quick video answering one of the biggest questions that I get all the time in ClickUp. The question is, how should I structure my projects? So if you're using ClickUp or if you're thinking of using ClickUp to help you manage the delivery of your services that you do for clients, which is to say, if your business is delivering client projects, whether that be financial, professional services, IT, whether you're a digital agency, or a range of other industries that are delivering projects on behalf of clients. If you're looking to invest in ClickUp as a work management tool to help you manage those projects, as well as a range of other functions you may be interested in, one of the questions that you're going to tackle or have already experienced is, how should I structure my projects? And one of the biggest questions, if we dive a bit deeper into that, is, should my project be a task where all of the component pieces for that project be created as subtasks? So component 1 or milestone 1, 2, 3, and so on, and we can even create nested subtasks as well. Or should my projects be a list where all of the components for my project are tasks within a list? So immediately, the value proposition of a list is that it's cleaner when we're dealing with projects at scale. When you have a large project with a lot of different components, having your project as a list makes assignment of individual project components, tracking details for those projects, communication on those projects much smoother, and you can cut your project with a lot of different views much more easily if they all have their own list. We can create different visualizations of information. We can embed documentation per project and a form per project as well. So the downside of having a project as a list is a list doesn't contain a lot of opportunity to have metadata, which is to say, if you're wanting to report on your projects, to understand each of these projects, you can't store information like project type, project health, account value, contact information. None of this information can be stored against the list itself. The only things that can be are the start date and due date, the priority, and the owner. And it will also roll up on the estimate and tracked on tasks within your list. But that's the only information that lists house, which means that there's a big reporting gap here when we're thinking about projects as lists. The upside of having our projects as tasks is tasks can house much more of that metadata that we were just talking about that are gaps for lists. We can add columns, again, the assignment and start date and due date like we had in our list, but additional columns as well, like client ID, project health, account type, industry, account value, contact information, store information on project updates, project risks, and we can even link our task to all of the information in our list to roll up on information here. And this concept in this column brings me to my recommendation that I make to almost everybody that's building out projects in ClickUp and looking to manage their projects. If your project has any sort of length to it, complexity to it, the scale of having your projects as tasks and building out all their components as subtasks in one list will be annoying. It's not going to scale. It's hard to cut individual views for your projects. The assignment and communication of each of your project components end up getting confused. And so what I end up recommending is you treat your project as both a task and a list. And so the way that we do this is when we kick off a new project, so post-sale, it's confirmed that your project needs to kick off, we'll create a new task within our master client list here, or our master project list, whatever language makes sense for you. And then we'll input necessary information for this project, like the client ID, when does it need to start and end by, who's the project owner, what's the account type, the industry, the account value, contact information. And after we've input all of that information in these columns, what we do is we go to our active projects folder and we create a new project from a template. You'll be able to select your template, you'll be able to name it, the name of your project here, and you'll even be able to remap the dates of all your tasks to start from the start date that you've indicated here. And that way you'll kick off a new project named like this with all of the information that you typically need to deliver for your projects. And so now if I'm the project owner, I now come in here and select by section at a time or by individual tasks who's responsible for the delivery of that, communicate with them if I need to here, and if I need to delete items or add items in sections, I can do that from here as well. Against the top of our view, we're going to have templated views like document, form, viewing form submissions from the client, and viewing the client project timeline, so that we can instantly start managing our project and cut out all that manual setup as well. The final thing that I recommend you do if you're feeling advanced is after you go through that project setup where you've added and deleted items, you've assigned out your items, you've communicated if necessary. What I often do is I grab the first task in the list, I scroll to the bottom of my list, I hold the Shift key, and I click to the bottom tasks. And this will now allow me to bulk select all the items that are in my list. And from here, I can choose to link all of these back to a single item. What this then allows me to do is to visualize within the task information from my project. I can click tasks here and expand this information. I can choose which columns are exposed, the order, and I can even calculate on these columns to see the total time estimate, total time tracked within my project. What I'm also able to do is add columns that roll up on data from my linked tasks. I can choose a roll-up field like time estimate, time tracked, these statuses, and I can visualize my project information here to better understand the progress of my projects, the time tracked, the time estimated, or whatever default field you're looking to link to here. Structuring it this way will also expand our reporting options. We can report on the phase of our projects, the project health, the account type, the industry, the average account value or total, and we can also report on the individual lists themselves and get a better understanding of a portfolio of the relative projects, of the relative progress of all of our projects. The final piece I'm going to leave you with here is I recommend a workflow for every project owner, project lead to come into a view called My Projects once a week or once every 2 weeks. You simply favorite your My Projects view to add it to your favorites bar. And then you go into this view once a week or once every 2 weeks, you see your projects, and then you make sure that the project information is correct, and you add your project update, you add any project risks, and then you comment, making sure to mention anybody relevant to the update of that information, to direct them to the update. Hope you found this helpful. Please reach out if you want to see an example of what the reporting would look like for these projects or for yours. And if you want to gain access to this master client list or this active project folder as a template to start building your own version of this.